Welcome to episode 108 of the Girl About the Globe podcast. In this episode, I share my tips and advice on how you can meet others on your solo trips. If you've ever been worried about being alone for the whole of your trip, this episode is for you. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Girl About the Globe, a podcast for you, the solo female traveller, empowering women to travel solo with maximum adventure, minimum impact. Travelling solo can be a challenge. Looking for your accommodation, figuring out transport, currency, having to navigate your way around a new city can be exhausting. So when you meet a like-minded person to share it all with, it can make it so much more enjoyable. Meeting other travellers means there's someone to look after your bags when you need to go into a shop, someone to remember landmarks as you wander around, someone to talk to, have dinner and experience the nightlife with, and someone else for company. Even if you prefer figuring it all out by yourself, it can make it all so much easier. Maybe you've been on your own for the third day running without interacting with a single soul, except maybe the occasional waiter, and you're beginning to get bored of your own company and feel that you've lost the ability to have a decent conversation, that it's time for some company. If you don't want to swap the comfort of a hotel for a bed in a hostel, then you'll be happy to know there are plenty of other ways to meet people when you travel. But of course, the most obvious one is in hostels. So hostels were created with the idea of mingling with strangers, and you'll find many holding daily or nightly events. Any hostel will do, but the best hostels to integrate with others are the smaller, more independent ones. Unless large hostels have social nights, it can be difficult to strike up a conversation with others. So in my personal experience, the smaller, the friendlier. Speak to others in your dorm room, sit in the common area and ask people for tips on what to see and do. Travellers are generally a friendly bunch, especially if they're solo as well, and you'll often find that they will invite you to go exploring with them for the day. Ask the reception desk if they have any tours or nightly events that you can join for guaranteed company. Useful website, Hostelworld, hostel booking site worldwide. Bars. I admit it can take a lot of courage to walk into a bar by yourself, but it can be better than a restaurant though, honestly. But they are actually good places for meeting other people. The best place is to sit right at the bar so that the barman will talk to you. If you are nervous, get there earlier so that you're not walking into a packed bar. You can always take your phone with you or a book as well. Walking tours. Not only are they free and you just make a donation at the end, but they're also great for solo travellers. Even if you're not one to approach people, you're guaranteed that somebody will strike up a conversation with you by the end. With tours lasting between 2 to 3 hours, there's plenty of time to engage with others. Keep your time free at the end for any impromptu drink or meal offers, and this also applies to any kind of date or two. Useful website. Sandeman's Tours, free walking tours in Europe. Public transport. It's so easy to strike up conversations with people on buses or trains, and you never know who will come into your carriage or have to seat next to you. All you need to do is just ask them to mind your bags while you grab a coffee and offer them one too, or just ask, "Where are you heading to?" and a conversation is born. This is even easier on buses when you are all squeezed in and within inches of each other. Border crossings. Travellers tend to stick together. So if you're about to cross a border overland, you're guaranteed there will be another traveller who is also a bit dubious about the logistics of crossing and is more than happy to join forces until you get to your chosen destination. They may even share the transport cost there. Some border controls make you wait while they check your passport, giving you time to strike up conversations in the meantime. This is also true when you arrive in a country for the first time and everyone is looking for accommodation. It's a great situation for joining forces and finding somewhere together. Meetups. Meetups are a great idea and a chance to meet others, especially if you're staying in hotels and away from sociable accommodation. You just rock up in a city, check if there's a meetup, and then turn up. These come thoroughly recommended by solo travellers and are an ideal way to meet other solos like you. Plus, you can choose from writing groups, yoga, dancing groups, and other various interests in more than 35 cities. Useful website, Meetup. Couchsurfing. If staying at a stranger's house doesn't sit comfortably with you, you can always choose to meet someone on Couchsurfing instead. As well as being somewhere to find accommodation for the night, it's also an online community which connects you with locals who can meet you for coffee, a dinner, or show you around their hometown. You can just put where you're going to be and on which date, and then let people contact you, so you don't even have to approach anyone. Useful website, Couchsurfing. Language exchanges. If you're in a Spanish-speaking country or a French-speaking country, there's bound to be an intercambio or a language exchange. You can also arrange to meet others online or just speak to them through Skype if you're not in the same area. It may seem a little bit daunting at first to speak solely in a language which isn't your native tongue, but people are just as keen to practice their English with you, so you'll often find it's an exchange of languages. Just take along a phrasebook and an open mind. You can always do some groundwork before you go with online programs such as Conversation Exchange, useful websites, Conversation Exchange, and also look at Meetup. Classes. Whether you have a secret desire to be a culinary chef, a ballroom dancer, or a first-class diver, taking a class or even a course when you travel will not only enhance your travelling experience, but you will also find like-minded people to learn with too. You could try Thai cookery classes in northern Thailand, diving in Honduras, or tango dancing in Argentina. Look in local newspapers, on posters, expat sites, or just ask locals if they know of any classes. Hostels are good for this information too, so you can check their websites or even just pop into a hostel if you're not staying in one and ask if they know of any local classes. Establish a routine. Go to the same coffee shop each day, eat lunch in the same restaurant, have a drink in the same bar, and soon people will recognise you and strike up a conversation. Being somewhere for a while will guarantee that people will notice you and soon take an interest in you. It may not be an instant way of meeting people, especially in countries such as Mongolia, where locals take a while to build up trust with strangers. But if you are going to stay somewhere slightly longer term, then this definitely works. Just start talking. Whether you're sitting in a restaurant, mooching around a museum, or sitting in a park, just strike up a conversation with the next person who smiles at you. If they don't interact, then maybe move on to the next one. Offer to take a photo of someone in exchange for them taking the photo of you. It can obviously be hard getting pictures of yourself when you're solo. Ask someone a question in their local language or just smile. Say that you have just arrived and want to know where the best local restaurant is, what there is to do in the area, or what they recommend to start a conversation. You'll be surprised at how friendly people can be, especially those in local towns who are more open to conversations and have the time as opposed to those on their lunch break in busy cities. In countries such as Cuba, locals just sit outside their houses or play chess or cards in small parks, so sitting, smiling and observing is a good way in. People love talking about where they live and will happily give you tips. Ask questions about people and be genuinely interested. Join an expat community. There are so many Facebook groups for virtually every city, so it should be easy to find an online community of people in the same area as you. You don't have to be an expat either, but this is a good way of meeting others if you're staying somewhere for longer than a month. Regular events are a big part of an expat lifestyle, so find out if there's an event coming up and just confirm your attendance. You can just Google the words expat in the city that you want to go to find websites. Get a travel buddy. Meeting people on the road can sometimes be intense. Whether you spend an hour, a day or a week with someone could be the highlight of your trip. And if you're away long term, many people will go and come in your travelling life. Some will just be an exchange of words in the street, a bar or on a bus, but others will make a lasting impact and can even change your course of travel. Travelling opens up possibilities for romantic encounters, and you may even find yourself having a short-term relationship. Finding a like-minded person with the same travelling style and interests is the key to a perfect travelling partner. Otherwise, you may wish you were alone sooner rather than later, especially if you've made a commitment to travel with someone for a while and it's not quite working out. So find out what their daily patterns are like. Are they an early bird too, or do they prefer to spend half the day in bed nursing a hangover, while you prefer to be up and about and sightseeing in the mornings? Finding a travel companion is so easy thanks to the internet, and you can even line up a travel buddy before you begin your trip. There are many solos looking for others to travel with, and you'll be surprised at how easy it is to travel with a stranger compared to a close friend that you've known for years. Here are some sites to join. Backpacker app to discover travel buddies, Thelma and Louise, which is a girls-only membership to meet others and find travel buddies, and Travel Girls to find friends from all around the world. You can also join our Girls About the Globe Facebook group and see if there are any girls in the country that you're travelling to. These are just a few ways to meet others, but you can meet people in the most unlikely places, such as marketplaces or hostel lobbies. I've even met people waiting in the airport for a flight. If you're travelling for a long time, you'll be surprised at how many of your friends will jump at the chance to meet you somewhere, whether it's for a weekend or a week-long holiday, just because they don't have the time, motivation, or money to go on a big trip like you doesn't mean that they don't want to meet you at somewhere along the way. Ask friends and relatives if they know anyone in the area that you're in that you can meet up with. If you're travelling on a particular traveller's route, you'll be surprised at how many people you might keep bumping into. A tip is join a tour for a few days or weeks, which is a guaranteed way to meet people who are travelling the same route. Of course, there may be times when you're really happy to be alone, but for all the times that you're not, there are usually plenty of opportunities to make friends. If you travel with an open mind, you can meet people anywhere. The best way to engage and meet others is just to smile.
And you can find out more information on the How to Meet Others While Travelling article on the Girl About the Globe blog, and I'll be back next week with a brand new episode.
Thanks for listening to our Girl About the Globe podcast, making solo travel easier for you. Find everything that you need for your solo travels at girlabouttheglobe.com, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode.